Hello everyone, and welcome to episode 7. Well, we have people living in the town at this point, so I guess it's time to start taking care of them. The main focus will be the clothing industry. The sooner we get that done, the sooner we can take another item off the list of imports. We will also start building out the waterfront a little, using the same concrete embankment mod we used in the previous series. Only this time, it's a much smaller beach we need to take care of, so it won't be such a big project. And of course, we will get started on the research program in the university, and by the end, we will know the location of the different natural resources dotted around the map, including that elusive oil deposit near the town, which we are desperately trying to exploit. Before we get started, if this is not your first video from this channel, you already know what to expect. If you want to be kept up to date, please consider subscribing, and if you like what you see, leaving a like will also help letting me know what to focus on. But enough talking, let's get into it. What I wanted to take care of first was the intersection leading into town. Right now, it's a simple 4-way intersection. What would really help make a difference would be adding a couple slip lanes. That way, vehicles that need to turn right won't have to enter the center, and can simply drive around it, with most of their speed intact. Only those who need to turn left, or drive straight on will need to do things the hard way. Once all 4 arms are finished, we can upgrade the center to asphalt. Now, about the research. The sooner we get it started, the better. There are 2 very important routes we need to go down this early. One is the geology arm of the tree, where we can learn about the location of the different resource deposits, and the loyalty arm, but that will require the party HQ to really make it work, so we will start with geology today. We also need to keep educating citizens as much as possible, so I kept the research rate relatively low, and left most of the professors to keep giving lectures. Next, we are starting to have some issues with childcare already, so it's time to add another kindergarten. This is a never-ending struggle, so get used to it. This little plot of land behind the gas station seems like it could work, since it's in walking distance of all the current residences. I think it's time to get this little hill into its final shape now. It will likely house a tall landmark monument at one point, but for now, let's just sculpt it, so we know how to build around it. Okay, leveling is a bit too slow for my taste. How about we try something? Smoothing always seemed like a much faster way of dealing with the terrain. Maybe if we did that first, and leveled after that, it would be faster. We should also build up a small plateau to house the future stuff we might place there. Oh yeah, we can move the hill back much faster after doing a bit of smoothing beforehand. I think this should be a decent enough size for the hill. Now we just smooth down the sides, and leave it at that. Now that the roads going around these segments is done, we can safely upgrade them, and still have a clear way into the city. It seems these houses have no central rubbish collection points. We should give them one, so the waste trucks will only need to visit one location, instead of 4. Just to make sure we didn't miss any hotspots, we should use the overlays to check which buildings have rubbish in them. It seems the hospital and a couple other buildings are not covered. For now, let's just focus on the hospital. The others are pretty far away from the center, so we will deal with them later. How about we do the waterfront next? We already managed to level out the shoreline far enough to make room, so we can place the embankments now. We have a road leading to the river, so how about we build something that has a road connection, so it all works nicely together. While I doubt we will use personal cars around here, the segment that acts as a parking lot has road connection points, so it's a decent enough fit for the job. In hindsight, maybe I should have gone with the ferry dock instead of the parking lots. That might have made more sense. Still might end up rebuilding it at one point. Either way, the rest of the segments we build will be the simple long ones. For now, let's leave it at that. We will decide how to twist and turn the embankments as the city expands. To build these out, we just need to add temporary service connections using dirt footpaths, and build the final stuff once they are all done. For the parking lot, we can use the final roads though, that one is easy to deal with. As for workers, people should focus on working in the industries. There is no point for them to be around until all the materials are delivered. Same as before, once they are done, we will dig the shoreline back, and expose the embankment walls in the process. With the slip lanes finished, we can safely upgrade the middle now, and not cause any real issues in the process. If anyone wants to take a left turn, they can just turn right 3 times, and they are right where they want to be. What I really want to focus on is this warehouse. The sooner we get it done, the sooner we can start having a fully efficient maintenance garage. The one we have now relies on the buses to deliver the workers, and that's a bit too inefficient for my taste. Here, I've decided that it's time to stop using foreign workers in the construction industry. To make it happen, we just need to send the buses to the depot, so the office is empty, meaning we can demolish the old, and build another near the town. Then we reassign the buses to it again, tell the office to get workers from the city bus station, and we are back to normal, except we no longer use foreigners to build stuff. At last, the warehouse is done. After we tell it how to deal with the different kinds of goods, we can tell the distribution office to deliver the goods there, instead of the old place. There. Steel and aluminium goes straight to the garage, while the smaller components go into the warehouse. Just as nature intended. I also decided that we should use bigger and faster trucks to do the outside maintenance jobs. The MAZ 504 is the best we have right now, so we went with that. In hindsight, I was a bit too hasty with the old garage demolition. I really should have emptied out the material still in there. Thankfully, I will remember to do it with the warehouse. Not sure I like those numbers with the highly educated citizens. We had a small increase, and then we started to drop. I fear we might need to invite more of them before we start seeing a steady increase. We will build the party HQ today, but I left the game running a bit after the recording, and the numbers didn't improve. It only got better once I invited a couple more intellectuals. The real problem is the loyalty. The productivity is low without it, so professors are not as efficient as they could be otherwise. I was about to demolish the old warehouse, but then I saw that it was still full of valuable stuff, so I told the distribution office to use it as a pickup point for the components. That should take care of it. Yep. It seemed to be being emptied out quite nicely. We will check back on it later, and demolish it once it's empty. And the little crossroad is finished. Anyone taking a right turn will be able to do so much more quickly, and avoid using the busy middle point. What we should be focusing on right now is the clothing industry. They were low priority for a while, but it might be time to bump them up to high, which we will do in a little bit. Yeah, let's put the embankments down to low. They are not really important, so we can just use them as a place to keep our construction crews busy, if they have nothing better to do, and we can set the clothing factories up to high. The food is starting to pile up in the warehouse, meaning we can afford to run another truck on the distribution line. And with the clothing industry looming on the horizon, we should start buying the chemicals we need. For this, we will use a distribution office, instead of a dedicated line. We need much less of that stuff, so we don't need to have a truck running 24/7. Now that the crossroad is complete, we should upgrade the roads leading into town. For that, we need service roads. This gas station is in the way, so it needed to go. Yeah, I know. I should have emptied it out first. I will get a hang of that one day. To get past the railroad overpass, we need to temporarily get rid of the bridge, and then put it back once it's all done. At first I tried to build this temporary connection, but I thought it was a bit too long, so I just went with the bridge removal. We had footpaths in the way on one side of the first town intersection, so we needed to switch sides along the way. We just needed to add one more small connection to let fire trucks out, and that was it. Very little stuff remains in the old warehouse at this point. Since I set the customs house to accept exports in the distribution office, that meant that trucks were unable to move such small amounts, so I just deleted what was left. And done. Like it was never there. We might as well get rid of these footpaths, they are kind of superfluous at this point. Oh, right. These guys. They don't need to have workers in them until all the materials are delivered either. Okay, we are falling below 100,000 rubles at this point, so we need another loan. 1 million should do the trick. And if all goes well, this will also be enough to take care of the oil extraction in the near future. Nice, the first research project is complete. We can move on to the one that will actually reveal the resource deposits on the map for us. And the clothing industry is up and running. Time to tell the clothing delivery trucks the new route plan, so they load up at the factory warehouse, drop off as much as they can in town, and then sell the rest at the border. There. The first batch of homemade clothes. One less thing we need to import. Uh-oh, the amount of crops in the warehouse is dangerously low. We should increase the throughput of that line to compensate. You know, it's not a good idea to have different kinds of buses on the same line. Let's just sell the smaller ones, and keep using the original 4. As long as they can empty out the bus station completely, it should be okay. Yeah, things are looking good right now. To get the research done quickly, I decided to rush it through the system. We will deal with the education after that. Speaking of which, it is time to build the party HQ. As I've said before, it won't really fix our graduate shortage, but once the important loyalty techs are finished, it will be pretty much dealt with. I think just behind these residences will be a decent place for it. We just need to build another street to accommodate the new building. Might as well go for the proper streetlight road from the start. There are only staircase windows on this side of the residential buildings, so I think we can get away with building the HQ here. Maybe if we place the nodes on the footpath carefully, we can place those connections. Just like that. The embankment is coming along nicely. And the road connections seem to be doing a good job at integrating them into the overall city infrastructure. I think we can finish building this road, and connect it up somewhere near the first residential neighborhood. As for the other end of that coastal street, I think it can end right in front of the other bunch of houses. I really like the way this little riverfront area is coming together. I think we can safely start moving the shoreline back at this point, and reveal the embankment walls. And what better way to finish than to have access to the resource map at last. The next tech we go for is the one that will eventually lead up to the radio station. As for the resources, just as we suspected, we have a very rich and expansive oil field quite close to town. I think it's safe to assume that we will be spending some time setting things up around here. So many green patches. I doubt we will build up a full coverage right away, we just need enough to fully supply the oil refinery that will come soon after. Anyways, I think this is where we will leave it for today. In the next episode, we will of course deal with the oil wells, and start selling the crude stuff while the refinery is under construction. It will take a bit of effort to get everything going, but one of the biggest money sinks we have right now is fuel, so the sooner we deal with it, the better. We are barely making enough money to keep us in the green, but once we can start selling both fuel and bitumen, we will be plenty rich enough to afford all the steel and other stuff we will need to get started on the railroad construction. And with that, I think we will pretty much exhaust the industrial potential of this area. We will just build out a construction hub, and get started on the next settlement, which will deal with the steel and other stuff for us. Anyways, if you haven't done it already, I'd love it if you subscribe to the channel, and leaving a like would also let me know that this video was worth making. If you feel that it was good enough, and you can afford it, please consider going to my Ko-fi page, which you can find in the description, and donate an amount that you feel is appropriate. And if you did like what you've seen, there should be links to some of my other videos and playlists on the screen. Thank you for your support, and I'll see you in the next one.